ஆறுது
ஒரு 5 நிமிஷம் வெயிட் பண்ணலாம் வேணா.
ஸ்ரீவத்சன் ஆரம்பிச்சாச்சா?
ஆமா, அவர் லைவ் போட்டிருக்காரு.
ரெடி மம்மி, ஆல்மோஸ்ட் ரெடி. நான் ஜஸ்ட் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணத வெயிட் பண்ணிடுறேன் யூடியூப்.
ஓகே, நான் சும்மா இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன், அப்புறம் நீங்க எப்ப வேணுமோ ஆரம்பிங்கோடா பிரேமா.
சரி.
அஸ்மத் குருபியோ நமக, அஸ்மத் பரம குருபியோ நமக, அஸ்மத் சர்வ குருபியோ நமக. SCAC, Srivari Creative Arts Committee, belonging to the New Jersey Andavan Ashramam, is presenting this online Bhagavad Gita workshop by Dr. Prema Sundararajan. Today is session 3 and the topic is control of mind and the senses. Thanks, Dr. Prema.
Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We had in the last session about the self-realization, whether we have understood ourselves on the self-concept and what is our goal, how do I achieve the goal, and who is going to be the helpful person and who is going to really divert us. So in the series of that, that is how this theme came up, mind and sense control. So I would like to share the screen. So whatever we have, we'll have the presentation mode in the beginning, and later on we can have the interactive session where you can ask questions. I was just talking to my own grandson. I said, you know what, when we have the senses to be controlled, ears, eyes, nose and mouth, and how do you do that? So eyes I can close, nose also I can, keep the cotton and all. Ears also I can control everything, but mouth, there is a temptation, he said. I said, yes, that temptation is the word for everything, all our panchendriya, jnanendriya, everything. So now when you think that these are the sense control which is possible by me and which is not possible by me, but let's see what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So all our themes are all taken from Bhagavad Gita, and there are couple of shlokas here and there in almost all 18 chapters, and that's to facilitate us, that's to make us understand. So we'll go on. What does he say about mind and sense control, and why do we require? See, there are 3 things. One, what is mind and sense control, and why do we require that? Is it possible to do that? Is it really possible to do that? And if you don't do it, if you don't have the control, then what has happened? What is the result? If you have the control, then what does it? So it is what, how, why, and the results. So everything we'll be able to see within maybe 45 minutes, and then we can have an interactive session. Exactly, is it possible or not? So I'll move on to the presentations. Okay, so this is the mechanism of mind. We know all our panchendriyam, like eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and skin. So eyes, what I need to see, what I smell, and what I eat, and what I hear, and of course touch. So these, the decision making is only the mind. So when it moves on to the mind has some intelligence. The intelligence pours into the mind. So that mind is a storehouse of thoughts. It is not today's thought. It is the storehouse. So it has been, having those thought processes, and there are unfulfilled desires, and all our experiences from the time of birth, even before birth, even in the previous birth. So everything is stored there, and we come like that. We are taking birth in such places where it will suit ourselves to fulfill all those karmas. So we'll not go into that detail, that how do we take birth and where do we come, which family do we take birth. All these are there in Bhagavad Gita. So, but here the connection is the senses, and it pours into the mind. But then there is something called, which is intelligence, the chit, achit. So the environment makes, or the people, or the people in the environment, or only the living beings or non-living beings? Who does that? Or do we have all those intelligence ourselves? So unfortunately, I don't have to explain about this, but today we are living in a society where we think that happiness means to enjoying our senses more and more. Oh my God, I had a party, the grand food and grand mela, and then this is what I enjoyed. And I mean, I don't have to explain all these pictures that you're seeing here. So that is what people think is happiness. The happiness is nothing but the sensory organs which gives you that sense gratification, as not realizing that it is all perishable, it is all temporary, it is all just, momentary pleasures as per them. So for if Sita felt that going along with Rama to the jungle is a happiness for her, and there are people who think that it's a different thing for them. So do we really think about, as enemies are curbed by superior force, similarly, the senses can be curbed. Why do we need to curb? Let's see. Not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. We need to engage our services to the Lord. Only then we can curb from those sense gratification, which really brings to the falling of our soul. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, there are shlokas which really substantiates whatever we speak. Prajahati yadha kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmano tushtah stita prajnas tadochyate. The whole second chapter is all stita prajnan. How does he walk? How does that Muni walk? He is very determined, totally involved with the transcendental. How does he walk? How does he talk? So that's what Arjuna is asking. So all those sthita prajnan, how his intelligence is fixed. He doesn't waver. He doesn't go here and there. He's not all over. It's not overwhelming. So how does he walk? How does he talk? What are the symptoms? Sthita prajnan man is in fixed intelligence. Is the pure transcendental consciousness. He is into the bliss. He is in the Ananda Nilaya. So he's always steady in his determination. He knows what he has to do. He has a goal. So is it possible? He gives up all the varieties of desires of sense gratification. And what is that? Why does he leave? Today's context, do you think that it should not be gratified? We should not have that desire. If we have the desire, if the desire is not fulfilled, then what does it happen? How does it lead us to the downfall? In the snake and ladder, the way we see that, how do we fall into the tip? How do we go on to the top? So the Sthita Prajnan is the mind, is a purified, and is always engaged in serving the Lord. He finds satisfaction in self alone, satisfied serving Krishna. That's it. I am with Krishna. Rest all, I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it, because I need to do my activities has to be there. He is also engaged in the sense in serving Lord Krishna. His desires for sense gratification arises from mental concoction. So all his the mind, the intelligence, that is what is making him to get into that mode of satisfaction. So if his sense gratification arises from mental concoctions, what does it? So the desires are pouring into that. So this particular image you will understand. So you leave all your senses all over. These are all poisonous snakes. So the sense gratification is nothing but the poisonous snakes. So just leave it to them. Open it and leave it. Leave the thing. So dukkeshvana dhigvad manaha sukheshu vighes prashaha prahaha Beat Indu Ravi. Do you want to read? Do you want to chant the slokas? Okay. Dukkesh. Yes, decide. I will ask you to read them. Dukkesh vanada vignamanaha sukheshu vighetas prahaha vitaragha bhaya krodha sitadhir muni ruchyate. Yes, sarvatranabhisnehastat prapya shubham nabhinandatina dveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. Yes, Indu? Yada, yeah, you said something?
Sanskrit
Okay,
okay.
okay, next we'll go. Yada samharate chayam kurmonghaniva sarvashah indriyanindriyarthebhyastasya prajna pratishtita vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. All from 2.56 to 2.59, everything is all how do you control the senses. So how do we do that? Now, the meaning for all this Hindu you can read, I think. Yeah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha,
when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and one who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind.
Thank you. One division. This attachment, fear, anger. These three are the lust, greed, and anger. Attachment, fear, and anger. According to him, it is not going to purify your mind. Where there is detachment, where there is no fear, there is no anger. So if you keep on fulfilling your senses to be, all the senses desires to be fulfilled, gratified, slowly we get into the entanglement and we get into these, vices. Yes. 57.
In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, it's firmly fixed in perfect knowledge.
So material world, we don't wait for the recognition. We don't wait for some people to be admiring us and giving us a name, like, Peru, Panam, Padavi, Pugal, all that P leads to. So if we wait for all those things, and if it is not fulfilled, again, you are just getting the senses to be gratified. Even if there is no acknowledgement, even if in this material world, the person is not affected by any of these, then yes, he is able to control his mind. Yes, 58.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness.
This is the greatest example where we all come to know. And there is one more thing. So all the vices, when Krishna takes the avatar of tortoise, it seems, he becomes the Parvadam. Why? Because the Manthanam takes place, all your the vices goes out. How does it go out? Because you are either into the tortoise, that means your limbs are all inside. When you see those senses, the desires don't want to get fulfilled, I don't want to fall into all those, then you get into this. That means somewhere or other, you hold Krishna from within and your senses are all in control. Then what happens is the vices automatically gets off, like a hala poison. That is, it goes away. You become pure. Your mind becomes purified.
Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness.
We will know about this, Pillai Uranga Nayagar Villidasan, how you have to have a better sense of gratification. Today, 8th grade student cannot be satisfied with just a chocolate. He needs a higher level. So for all your sense organs, you need a higher level. Now, what is this higher level? Is it in the material world, or is it beyond material world? Is it Is it the goal that we are getting entangled to the material world? So the senses need a higher goal. It cannot be controlled. It needs to have the enablement. Like you need to enable the senses to have a better goal, a better gratifying process. How does that happen? Let's see, that embodied soul, if you see that the restrictions cannot be, even if I close my eyes, even if I do the meditation, I cannot control my mind unless and until my mind, my thinking process, my feelings, everything is in line. When that happens, only when I am going to do the japam, when I am going to do services, so restricts from sense enjoyment. The embodied soul restricts from sense enjoyment. Taste for sense objects remains, then automatically it loses. So you are going to get developing the higher taste. What is a higher taste here? Getting connected with Krishna, fixed in consciousness. I know for sure this is my goal. I have self-realized. That's why the third month is second month was self-realization. From that, now I know my goal. So I'm very determined. I'm very firm on what I need. So first process is I need to make sure that my senses are gratified towards the ultimate goal, no more, getting into the cycle of birth and death. How does that happen? So you see in this image, although, if I'm going to sit in meditation, but keep thinking about all these material entanglement, I am not achieving anything. But even if I am into doing the work, I'm doing aarti, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, but still Krishna is always with me. Krishna is standing with me. So, there was one story, like somebody came and knocked the door and he said, what? He came in suit and boot and he said, who are you? I am Krishna. Oh, who Krishna? No, I am the God that whom you're every day you're doing puja and you're doing aarti. Oh, now onwards, I decided to stay with you. Okay, so, and then only you will be able to see, no one else will be able to see. So this businessman says, okay, this businessman walks around and he sees like Krishna is around me, Krishna is walking with me, Krishna is always with me. So he calls up the business people, and this is not the profit that I'm getting. Then, he holds his tongue because he cannot tell lies. If I'm going to have that trust and faith that Krishna is around me, Krishna is, then his wife is calling. How are you? Where are you? When are you coming? No, I am into the business meeting. No, I cannot say business meeting because Krishna is there. He's watching me. So automatically that purification will keep happening. So you are doing the work. You cannot tell lies because that faith is there. Now he is watching me. He is looking at me. He is as an antaryami. He is sitting inside me. He is watching me from outside as well as from inside. So that consciousness makes us to gratify the senses towards the higher goals. So that Sthita Pragyan, how does he walk? He says, contemplating on object senses, develop attachment. So this is all the reasons how he falls. Okay, from attachment, the lust develops. From lust, the anger develops. So unsatisfied lust turns into anger. The anger is the cause, the gate for everything. Then what happens? Memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. Totally the intelligence is lost. What they should not speak. So there is no control on the sense organs. Intelligence is lost, one fall into the material pool. So when the memory bewildered by intelligence, delusion. Then memory, total delusion. You don't know what you speak, you don't know what you think, you don't know how impure our verses become, our thinking process become, our feelings become. And that is the worst thing, because from lust, greed, the anger develops. But all this living entity, it is totally engaged in those devotional service to the God. What happens is, totally it is diverted. I am not with those impurities. I am not with gratifying the senses. The sense I have already gained over all those. Why? Because I know my goal. I know my goal I have to achieve. I'm into a different walks of life. I cannot get into this entanglement. So the best thing is, I don't know how many of you have understood Thiruvaimozhi Pasurams. The Vedam is made very easy in all our Pasurams. And we are very fortunate, those who know Tamil. Thiruvaimozhi Ezham Pattu. So the first one is, totally on உன்னிலாவிய ஐவர்கார் உமைத்தீற்று என்னை உன் பாத பங்கயம் நன்னிலாவகையே நெளிவான் இன்னம் எண்ணுகின்றாய் எண்ணிலா பெருமாயனே இமையோர்கள் ஏத்தும் உலகம் ஒன்றுடை அண்ணலே அமுதே அப்பனே என்னை ஆழ்வான். So take me out. I know for sure I am into this entanglement because of these senses, sense organs. So there's 5 karmendriya, jnanendriya. I'm into this. So the meaning only I've written here. I don't know how many of you will know the Thiruvaimozhi, but if you happen to, please read the Thiruvaimozhi, 7th one. So the body, senses, etc. Again, Hindu or who else? Can anyone read?
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, please.
Thiruvaimozhi 7th பத்து talks about the mind and sense control. The body, senses, etc., which are the hurdles to be removed, are at the disposal of Ishvara, who is the eliminator of these hurdles. When the hurdle is not removed, the desire to attain the goal will lead to anguish. The anguish will be subdued when one reaches the divine abode of Ishvara, who is determined to accept his servitors. The hurdles which cause anguish can only be eliminated by the omnipotent Emperuman, who has victorious acts of protecting the universe. It is agreeable to all that there is no Rakshaka, savior, other than Emperuman. One should surrender unto the divine feet of the creator of all to eliminate one's hurdles. While one is having virtual experience of Emperuman, the anguish caused by not attaining Emperuman truly will itself lead to hurdles. Only Emperuman, who is with variegated opulences and abilities, can eliminate the variegated hurdles. The bliss of turning the hurdles to be helpless by the great joy of being accepted by Emperuman to perform service by speech, pasurams, even while being with the hurdles. When the desire to attain the goal becomes manifold, Emperuman, who is the means, will eliminate the hurdles. With these aspects, Alvar mercifully examines the nature of the hurdles.
Thank you so much. If you really think of it, he is a means, he is the ultimate, he is the one who is going to take us, and he is the one to remove the hurdles. So what is he? We have to just hold his feet. That's it. So he is the one, ultimately we have to reach him. But we know for sure there are a lot of hurdles around us. And that hurdles is because of our sense organs, because we try to keep satisfying our sense organs. So those desires lead us to get diverted. Now, when we know he is the means and he has all those opulences, he is the one who is to remove the hurdles, then we need to hold his feet. Emperuman's feet is the ultimate, the answer for all those, the sense organs to be mind control and sense organs to be controlled. It is possible only by Emperuman. Okay, then we need to wish for that. If we don't desire for that, that desire is different from the sense organs desire. That sense organ desires will lead us to the total entanglement. But the sense organ towards the higher goal, to the higher level of attainment, then that desire will be fulfilled only by him. The process is also given by him. So this Sri Bhagavanuvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyena Mihavairinam. In every chapter till 18, there are few shlokas, 2 or 3 or 5 or 7, which talks about mind and sense control, which is making all of us, it's because of Arjuna, we get the answers for all this. So the Supreme Lord said, it is lust alone, which is born of contact with a mode of passion and later transformed into anger. Know this as a sinful, all-devouring enemy in the world. So you are just seeing, there are 72,000 nerves in our body, and all these nerves, if it speaks only Krishna, 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 we all know Janavai, in the Bhakti text, Janavai went on, putting the cow dung, drying the cow dung. And then, she said, it was every day, it was taken by people around. So she was very sad, but then her master said, what is happening? Where is it going? So she said, no, the neighbors have taken. how truthful you are. She said, go, let us go and check. So when she took all those cow dung, the dried ones, and when she broke, it said Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So when she was making, she was so confident about her work that always I was thinking about him. So he is going to speak for me. He is the one, he is the means, he is the one who was going to take the hurdle. That sort of a faith and that sort of an activity that was going on. So Dhumena vriyate vahnir yatha darsho malena cha yatolvena vrito gharbhastata tanedapmavritam. Just as a fire is covered by smoke, a mirror is masked by dust, and an embryo is concealed by the womb, similarly, one's knowledge gets shrouded by desire. So sad it is. We cannot see the fire when the smoke is around, but still we will be able to see. That is the first stage. The second stage is like mirror is masked by dust. Okay, that dust can be removed. So that means the desire is only in that level. But an embryo is concealed in the womb. Similarly, one's knowledge, that knowledge is shrouded in such a thing that desire is fulfilled. Even our body with the limbs on, then the blood, the nerves, and the skin around, that means all our karma bandhanam. So we are all bonded, we are all embodied soul, we are all tied into all this. That tying is because of the triguna, because of those desires. So that's all like, we are a package of lot of sins, lot of karmas, which we have come here to remove that. But we are very fortunate that we are into this knowledge, that knowledge which is going to be like just a smoke, just like a dust on the mirror. So that can be removed, and that is very possible if we hold Krishna's feet. That is the only answer for this. Indriyani mano buddhis yadhishtanam uchyate yetair vimohyatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. The senses, mind, and intellect are said to be breeding grounds of desire. Through them, it clouds one's knowledge and dilutes the embodied soul. I need this, I like this, I want this. I feel without this, I cannot be. Is it really required for us to have that? None of us will think. At that, it's a momentary. I need to buy this. I need to have. Without this, I cannot. So that is how the desires keep on growing. And if we don't get it the way we want, that's it. Then you get into all those problems. Can we let it go? Can we just say without that? Can we be without, it may not be it may not be some items, some things. No, it could be the sense, the way you desire something to happen, the way some activity to happen, the way you want it to be happening. Even that leads to, if it is not, if it is an unfulfilled desire, then it leads to that lust and anger. But then what is the answer? So, Indriyani paranyahur indrebhya param manaha manasastu para buddhir dhiyo buddhaye buddhehe paratatstu saha. We have come to this where the senses are superior to gross body and superior to the senses in the mind. Beyond the mind is intellect, and even beyond the intellect is soul. So we know like soul is only watching, okay, it just watches. But who takes the indriyani, like all those senses are all in your hands. So the hands means your mind, and behind the mind is your intellect, behind the intellect is your soul. So thus, knowing the soul to be superior to the material intellect, O mighty armed Arjun, subdue the lower self, that is senses, mind and intellect, by the higher self, the strength of the soul. We all give so much of vitamins and minerals to so much of, for the physical body. For the soul, do we really give something for nourishing the soul? Nourishment of the soul, we can't eat the pill. We cannot eat. So how does it happen? Nourishment of the soul means we have taken so many births, we are here. So nourishment of the soul can be possible only by smaranam, chintanam, mananam of Krishna. That is the only possibility. We keep remembering him. We keep chanting about him. We keep remembering and reading about him. That is the only possibility that your soul gets nourished. The senses are made to behold the glory of the Creator that manifests. Would you want like to read? Yeah. Kaushalya or Indu? Anybody? Radhika, would you like to read?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
Uh,
The senses are.
Okay. The senses are made to behold the glory of the Creator that manifests in every atom of His creation. The senses no longer remain as instruments for material enjoyment. Rather, they are sublimated to perceive God in everything. In verse 7.8, Sri Krishna says, Rasoham apsukam teya. Arjun, know me to be the taste and water. Accordingly, Bhakti yogis practice to behold God through all their senses in everything they see, hear, taste, feel, and smell. This yajna of devotion is simpler than the path of Hatha Yoga. It is joyous to perform and involves a smaller risk of downfall from the path. If one is riding a bicycle and presses the brakes to stop the forward motion, he will be in an unstable condition. But if the cyclist simply turns the handle to the left or right, the bicycle will very easily stop its forward motion and still remain stably balanced.
It's a very good example. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's, you keep moving and then you think that you're going to control your mind. That means you're controlling, but there is a fear that you will fall down. But if you make sure that, your handle, you just turn it around, that means you're diverting your mind. If I'm going to control, just control all your limbs and be there, that's not possible because we're all active. The souls are all active. The hands and legs and everything, every body part has to be doing some activity. That's what Krishna keeps saying, that you do an activity. But how do we do it? What is our goal? We have only one in our, I keep doing it, but without any expectations, without any desire. The students asked, then how do we think that we should not have a desire? No, you need to have that desire. You do it efficiently. Desire has, I have to get into this. I have to get the better grades. I have all those desires. You keep a goal for that. But then all your sense organs are working towards it. But who is in the center? Keep remembering him. Keep remembering him. It's not you who are doing. It's he makes you to do. He guides you. He is with you. So that sort of a feeling. And then the higher, with a higher, attainment, something, my goal is in the higher level. So if I have to have that higher level, I need some practices from my childhood. So how does it happen? So as the boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even one of the senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Gone with the wind. We know so many places, this second chapter, a lot of Sita Pragyan. If you are not there, then it's like, you are just swayed away. You gone with the wind. How does it happen? Any one senses also can take you somewhere else, which can throw you out. You are into, maybe like, your focus is totally onto some programs in the TV, and or in the maybe like, you get into a music where that music could be anything. I mean, any music is good. I don't say no. But you are into so much, you are carried away to such an extent, all your intelligence has gone into that, but then you are not able to come back. You are not able to come back. Even one senses can drag you out from the God's path. That is, drag you out from your goal. What is your goal? Ultimately, I control all my senses and I control my mind so that I don't get into this entanglement into the material world again and again. So that is not possible, even if one senses drags you out of it. It could be anything. So a person is said to be elevated. Anybody can read. I'm just seeing who's anyone can volunteer to read. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when all these shlokas are coming after this. Having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. So no sense gratification, not for fruitive activities. I keep doing my work, but then I will not have these two things. It is not to gratify my senses. It is to give me my total diversion, to have the mind control, to have a higher platform, to have a higher elevated platform where I can ultimately reach the goal. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So the mind can drag you anywhere. Okay, it's very powerful. Where is the mind? All these neurosurgeons were asking, where is the mind? Only you will know where the mind is. Nobody knows. No one else can, let them do any MRI scan or whatever. Where is the mind? Only that person can say. The robots were made and the robots asked, okay, what do you enjoy and what you don't like? So I enjoy everything. I'm like a human being, but then I don't have consciousness. That consciousness is only with that person whosoever is experiencing, whosoever is born here, and whosoever has been, very, very fortunate to be born, because that through that consciousness, one is able to think about Krishna. So for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. For one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy, because the mind will ask you to get away to just fulfill all your senses. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached. For he who has attained tranquility, to such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So, what he says is like, do you want it to be a greatest enemy, or do you want it to be the best of your friend? So that depends on what we think. As Shri Bhagavan Vacha, asamchayam mahabaho mano dur nigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. He divinely replied, like Arjuna says, undoubtedly the mind, he says, mana chanchala, as you say, is difficult to control. So Krishna doesn't say you have to control, you can control. No, he doesn't say. He said, yes, it is very, very difficult to control. Very difficult. I agree with you. That's why Krishna is the greatest psychiatrist, because he is able to empathize Arjuna. He is able to paraphrase what Arjuna is saying. He's able to give those words what he feels like. So that's the real psychiatrist or the counselor's work. So Krishna is able to grab about, he takes out all those feelings that is creating problems. Man is so chanchal. Man is like, the mind can travel like this. Right moment, you are already there in somewhere 10,000 kilometers away. Why? Because you cannot control. It is so difficult. But with your determination, with your practices, abhyasam, it can be controlled. There is a possibility. There is a light, because you try to waver, your mind tries to waver, your mind tries to think about something else. You bring it back. That's in your hand. You bring it back and focus. So that's in your hand. So what happens? Thinking stage. That's why I always say there has to be a congruence. There has to be a congruence between thinking, feeling, and doing. We always have. This is a very difficult thing. What I think, what I feel, and how do I act? All these three things have to be in congruence. Because I am seeing Embermans, I am seeing Krishna's Vigraham. Okay, the divine Vigraham. I'm looking at Vigraham. And I'm also chanting. So my seeing, my chanting shlokas are okay. But my feeling and my thinking is somewhere else. What is the use? What is the use? So that is where our mind controls plays a major role. Every time I have to bring it, I have to hold the string, I have to bring it back and focus on what I am saying, what I am talking. So what happens? By contemplating the objects of the senses, positively or negatively, that is in the thinking stage. One develops attachment for them. So, that attachment is the feeling, which leads to lust. So we start working towards that, because, it becomes my karma. I need it. Unsatisfied lust results in anger, then delusion, then bewilderment, then loss of intelligence. That time nobody thinks they may be a buddhiman, they may be having a lot of intelligence, IQ and everything. Doesn't matter, because the desire is not fulfilled. That leads to the lust, and that lust has led them to get angry. and then one falls down into the gross material existence. So tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmarat yudhyacha mayyarpita manobuddhir mamai vaishyasya samshayam. While doing any work, the mind always should be thinking of God. Is that possible? It's very difficult, right? So but we can make it a conscious effort. I'm cooking, I'm just pouring oil. In the morning also, when I was just looking at it, no, Krishna, Narayana, 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 Krishna is standing behind me. Krishna is standing behind me. So I'm not going to pour it. I'm not going to, spill it everywhere. Even small things. But that comes while you keep practicing, and it is really a blissful thing. It is a very enjoyment. You will be joyously smiling, laughing, and they will think, everybody will think around you that you're a fool. But you will enjoy it. Believe it. That experiences we all get, so you will all enjoy that. So the remembrance of God should be constant throughout the day and not intermittent. This famous couplet by Saint Kabir beautifully expresses this concept. Sumiron ki shuddhiyon karo, yan gagar panihara, bolat dolat surati me, kahe kabira vichar. Remember God just as a village woman remembers the water pot on her head. She speaks, walks on the path, but her hand keeps holding it as a pot. So this is always there. That means, Sumiro, you keep doing the work, you remember him, talk about him, tell about him, but then the focus is all like he's in your mind always. So, Sarva Dwarani Samyamya Mano Hridi Nirudhyacha Murdhan Yardhayat Mana Pranamam Asthito Yoga Dharanam. In this verse, Krishna says, he is using this Sarva Dwarani Samyamya, which means guarding the gates of the body. That's so difficult. And Hridi Nirudhya, that means locking the mind in the heart. He says that by controlling the passages that enter the body, one can lock the mind of the heart, restricting the senses from their natural tendencies and directing the mind towards Aksharam, that is the imperishable Supreme Lord. Then with complete attention and devotional feelings, one should meditate on him. He ends the verse with Yoga Dharanam, that is, which means uniting the consciousness with God. How do we unite the consciousness? Our chit with him, with Ishvara only. So only this is possible by this. This really shows, and fortunately, look at the knots, so many knots, right? So those knots can be just not untied, but broken, but taken away. We don't need those knots. That knots leads to the entanglement, desire tree entanglement, that we don't want. So this was already there. This is the second time which is coming up. So what happens? Devotees with no desires for personal interest and self, that is the Nishkama Karma Yoga, Sadhana Bhakti. So unrestricted sense gratification, we will see from the animal life. Unrestricted sense gratification, just eating, sleeping. They fall down like that to animal life. Regulated sense gratification, Karma Kanda. Okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And it is, gratifying your senses. Devotees with material desires, that is Sakama Karma Yoga. Devotees with no desires for self, personal interest, selfless, Nishkama Karma Yoga, Sadhana Bhakti. They get into the Sadhana Bhakti. So the act of humble obeisance effectively neutralizes vestiges of egoism. When you hold, when you just bend, and when you do namaskaram, automatically that ego, that false ego falls down. Because the glands, secretion of these adrenal glands, that automatically bring passion into your face, the kindness into your face, and then you try to show the obeisance to the elders. Krishna assures Arjuna, one should dedicate all one's thoughts and actions to the Supreme. He assures Arjuna that such complete communion with him through Bhakti Yoga will definitely result in the attainment of God realization. God realization is nothing but you keep thinking about him, keep him in your mind. He is there with you. He is not going to allow you to fall down at all. Just try to worship and, in devotional service. Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even great sages are not able to control the forces of senses. We know, like Jadabarada, Jadabarada story. A lot of stories, they could not control the senses they fall into. So, and lastly, they come back. They are gone with the, then lastly, when they start reciting Narayana, then they remember. So one after another in Srimad Bhagavatam, we have read stories. We know about how they fall into this gratification of the senses, where the desires are not fulfilled, and they fall back and back and back and back, and then they remember, oh my God, where we were and what I was doing, all those yajna and tapasa, and then they try to come back. So even great sages are not able to control the forces of senses as effectively as those who are engaged in transcendental bliss by serving the lotus feet of the Lord, uprooting the deep grown desire for fruitive activities. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a lovely story. I'm sure you all may be knowing Villidasan, the wrestler. He was he married a Ponnachi who was like, beautiful eyes. So everybody is walking on one side and he will walk the other side because he's like trying to protect his wife's eyes. So Ramanuja said, he sent his disciple and he said, ask him, why is he doing this way? So everybody was laughing at him. But he said, what? So he was like, he felt that he should be protecting her because her eyes are so beautiful. So he was always holding an umbrella for her. Finally, that Dasar, he said, Ramanuja said, can I show you can I show the beautiful better than all this? So he said, then I will fall for it. I will leave this sort of a service to my wife. And then he showed, naturally he showed Ranganatha. So he started Pullai Uranga Villidasan. So that is how he became the most favorite person in Sri Rangam, and his wife also started doing services to Ramanujacharya, and a lot of pasarams are written. So what is it? A better thing that will make us get diverted. For that, we need a guru. We need a person like, here Ramanuja made sure that, better eyes, beautiful eyes, better than this. So he tempted him in that way. He says, yeah, I will leave everything. Then he started writing all those scriptures. What I'm saying is, do we have somebody who can divert us, who can make sure that we get that? Yes. All our scriptures, all our acharyas, they do that only. Fortunately, we are all fortunate enough to get into such platform where we are able to get such diversified, and do some bhajans. Look at the Vigraha Archana. Look at this. So we do get those opportunities, and that's what we need to give. So fruitive worker, what he does, Karma Kanda, we saw Nishkama Karma, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So these are all the steps. So where do we start? Without, with gratification, according to the scriptures, you keep doing the work and you want some fruits out of it, so you do. That is Karma Kanda. Then renouncing the fruit, Karma Yoga, with Nishkama, without any expectations. Then comes, we had the knowledge. Now we know why we are doing it. Because I need to do this because it satisfies Krishna. Then once I leave all this, then I get into the linking with the super soul. So who is the super soul? He is watching from within, he is watching from outside. So then I start loving the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. That comes to the Bhakti. Bhakti cannot be explained. Bhakti can be experienced. We all need to experience Bhakti. So automatically, the way you do, whichever level you are. So you are seeing, the analogy is the mind of a devotee is like all those rivers, all those desires just go and fall into the ocean. What does it mean? That means all those desires are only to get to him. So if that is so, then why do we do, how do we do, what do we do? It is also by what he has given us. So man not disturbed by indefinitely flow of desire is like an ocean. So he is just calm. Okay. So this particular analogy is, it is so relevant for all of us that if I desire something, okay, I have a laptop, I have a phone, but what am I using for? Am I using for only entertainment? Am I using it for what purpose? So if that purpose is fulfilled, then I am just totally devoted on that. So does it mean that I am going in a right process, in a right level, right way? Yes. My conscience says, I am using it only for his services. So that is absolutely fine. So is he sitting inside and watching you? Yes, he is watching you. What am I doing? Am I criticizing somebody? Am I abusing somebody? Am I thinking good? So I need to control all my indriyangal myself. There is nobody, no one else will come and teach me that. When I know everything, what do I know? Because of the scriptures, because of Bhagavad Gita, because what Krishna told Arjuna, I have started relating it to myself, and I'm feeling that no, this is not at all possible. I need not get into this desire fulfilling, because it is all perishable, it is all temporary. This will entangle me into the material world again. Then I need to get out of it. How do I get out of it? I use all these, my sense organs to, even with all those devices, all those items, but then if I'm going to see a beautiful sari, I start relating it. How do I relate? So you keep thinking in those lines. It's a very difficult process, of course. But we all need to do it. There is no other way. You're seeing this picture. I think last, this thing also I showed. Envy, ignorance, anger, false prestige, pride, attachment, greed, lust. How do I get into, so the sadhu sangha, the bhaktas, then chanting, then, japam, tapam. So tapas, what is tapas? Tapas is nothing but then you start thinking and you take a determined, you're so determined, you're so goal oriented, accepting what I am, and that will lead me to attaining the goal. So Krishna now describes the origin of demonic disposition. We don't have to really get into all those demonic, who are demons, who have the qualities which are going to lead to Krishna, the qualities which are going to get into the vices. So virtues and vices, that is given in this chapter. One becomes buddhaya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmana niyamya cha shabdhadin vishayas tyaktva raga dveshau vyadusya cha vivikta sevi ladhvashi yatha vakyaya manasah dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritah ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmama shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One becomes fit to attain Brahman when he or she possesses a purified intellect and firmly restrains the senses, abandoning sound and other objects of the senses, casting aside attraction and aversion. Such a person religious. Attraction and aversion. Imagine, don't get attracted, don't get averted. Don't hate anybody, don't start loving for the sake of loving, but being kind, being nice, being loving to everybody, all living entities, is what Krishna says. Such a body religious, solitude, eats lightly, controls body, mind and speech, is ever engaged in meditation and practices dispassion. Free from egoism, violence, arrogance, desire, possessiveness of property, selfishness, such a person situated in tranquility is fit for union with Brahman. It cannot be union, it is services to the God. But union means you become purified and you are like all those pious people, all those. So realization of the absolute truth is called Brahman. So anybody and everybody can become that. Now, he says, you always think about me. Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me, thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my dear friend. 18th Adhyayam, 1665 clearly says, you just desire for me. The way you want me, I'm there for you. The way you desire, the way you want, I am there. Manmana bhava. That is the most important shloka. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuro mamai vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosmi me. You are the most wanted person for me. I am there for you. I am going to hold you. That's it. So you don't have to really worry about anybody. So Ambarisha was practicing all that, 9 ways of bhakti. So he was absorbed. His mind was on the lotus feet of Krishna. So he used to speak in glorifying the qualities of God. His hands in cleaning the temple, his ears in hearing divine pastime. He engaged his eyes in seeing. So that's why he got the chakra, Durvasa came, and then that Kinkara came, used it. So when everything was for Krishna, so what happened was the you all know about it. Durvasa came, and then Indra told him like he's becoming more powerful than you. So then Krishna said, okay, Krishna had given him this chakra with him. So that chakra did not leave all these people, and Durvasa had to finally come back to Ambarisha because Krishna, everybody said, no, we cannot do anything. So he had to come back. And then he fell on his feet, and Ambarisha said, no, you are a great sage. So he fell. So what happens? That means all those 9 stages of bhakti, everything, all his limbs, all his jnanendriyam, all his karmendriyam, everything is for the services of Krishna. When that person is doing that way, so he was a Mahayogi. So the tulsi leaves offered at the feet of the Lord, and his tongue in tasting prasadam. He utilized his feet for walking to the holy abodes, and his head in offering obeisance to lotus feet. He offered all paraphernalia such as garlands and sandalwood in the service of God. He did all this not with some selfish motive, but only to attain the selfless service of Lord Krishna through purification. I think with this, we stop the sharing of the screen. I would really like you to ask questions. There are few shlokas from different chapters that's been added here just for making it easier for us to understand. But this can be referred back, and that in detail. Every chapter has got few shlokas on mind and sense control. Basically, if I'm leading the poisonous snakes all over, it is going to be all over. And if it is kept in the box, it is kept in the box. That means all our senses are controlled. And then the same way, the tortoise always is given an example. So it is like inside all the, that is the basis for your sense control. So it is a difficult thing. Eyes will not do its work. Somebody was saying, then eyes should not do its work. Like, happy to be enjoying the beauty of a person. So I said, yes, you can enjoy the beauty of a person. Now, if you are going to think about that as a woman, or as a man, or as a, that sensual part of everything, or if you're going to say, oh, that God is all living in that, so such a beautiful face because he is there inside. If you're going to connect it, it is a difficult thing, but all with the practice, it can be attained. Any question if you have, you're welcome to ask. So I think you're all controlled and fulfilled and in that level.
Can I ask a question, please? Namaskaram again.
Namaskaram, please.
அந்த ஸ்லைட்ல அந்த நிஷ்காம கர்மம்னு சொல்லியிருந்தேன் இல்லையா, கர்ம காண்டாக்கு அப்புறம் நிஷ்காம கர்மம், அதுக்கு மேல வந்து ஞான அது என்ன, so where but how do you renounce the fruits of your karma without when you still don't have that jnana about the Brahman? And அது ஒரு கேள்வி. அது I think there are steps நினைக்கிறேன். அப்புறம் மேல வந்து பக்தி, so it went up to பக்தி யோகம். இப்போ இதுக்கப்புறம் and then also is this all for இதெல்லாம் கேட்டாலே the mind and sense control ரொம்ப பயமா இருக்கு. How to practice?
I know it is. See, but when you start, thank you. I'll be able to, whatever I am able to, I'll try to answer your question. But the thing is, when you read Bhagavad Gita, that is one thing, where you will understand whatever we are doing is all a foolish thing we are doing. Number one, okay? Whatever we are doing right now here is all foolishness, because there is some selfish motive in all of us somewhere or other inside. Now, if I start relating that it's for Krishna, it's for Krishna, it's for you, it's for you, I just look at him, it's your choice, you are guiding me. That is nishkam. So you have started renouncing it then and there when you are totally Krishna Arpanam, Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanam. We all were taught like that, when you do some work, we were taught that you say Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanam, but we never got into that depth meaning, and we never practiced it. At least I could not relate it that. But when you start reading and understanding Bhagavad Gita, you will say, nishkama karma yoga. I have to bring up my children. I have to make them good citizen. I have to do everything. That's my duty without expecting. Is that possible? The expectations, then and there, then and there, then and there. So getting angry, no, you have to enable them to take decisions. That is a totally different chapter. But that's what Krishna is doing. He is setting an example. Everywhere he's explaining everything. Finally, he says, you choose to decide what you want to do. You understand? The second chapter totally talks about this. It leads to Nishkama Karma Yoga, which means I don't have any expectations from you, but you keep doing the work. Why? Because ultimately, I am there to hold you. I am there to hold your hand. So that sort of a conviction, that sort of that faith we need to have.
Okay.
So, of course, this PowerPoint, the slides will be there in the group. So you can have a look at it. And then, you know what? The meaning for each, the explanation for each is all given in Bhagavad Gita. I haven't gone into detail, I've just touched upon the mind and sense control. So when you are getting angry, say for example, on your children or your husband, what they do, it's not appropriate, you feel, and you get angry, which is right. But what do I talk? How do I talk? Do I give them a correct message? Do I have the control on my tongue? Do I, not take out the words which will become the curse? Because around us, whatever is happening is what is going to bring us to that mind control, to the sense control. But we cannot be quiet. We cannot be bystanders. We cannot be like Bhishma Pitama. Whatever was happening, he was quiet because he was having Duryodhana's, in that kingdom. But no, anywhere anything goes wrong, you will automatically. But that means, do you think that you will not have the expectations? You will have the expectations. But that's your duty. That's your karma. That's your activity. That is your. So where you again connect it with him, then he will guide you. So that faith you need to have. Whatever I am doing today, yesterday I was in crisis. The speakers have been invited. They are going to come, and then I didn't have the host key. I didn't have the ID, and for 2 minutes that anxiety. And I know who the person was. Like, there were 2 people who were involved, and I said, no, I cannot send any of my bad vibrations by even thinking bad about them. I have to control. I need the control. I need to decide what I should do. I apologized. I canceled that. What I'm trying to say, the decision-making process, when we are calm, with the calm-minded, with the controlled senses, we will be able to decide in a proper way, in a better way. So that is Nishkama Karma. Okay.
Thank you. It is, and I like the example of the bicycle. This thing that's very beautiful. Where you have to actually, you cannot just sit back, and you need to keep your senses and your mind, active by doing something. But that example was very beautiful.
Yes, thank you. It's all Bhagavad Gita book. I have just noted from there only, but our pasurams have got mind and sense control. It's a very difficult topic. As it is, it can go for weeks on the workshop by giving a lot of examples from our own life. That will make us much more clearer. Yes, thank you. Any other questions? Yeah.
Is all this essentially for bhakti? When you talk about bhakti yoga, is that bhakti yoga and then the prapati or the sharanagati? Is it common to both, or how important is it?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. See, when you have done prapati, there is a very we all think, once done, it is done, finished. No, now your accountability and responsibility increases. Once we have done the prapati, we need to be so very careful, because let me tell you, we become our acharya become the passenger who has gone and told Krishna that, look, I am bringing somebody who is a very pious person. But how will you maintain that piousness? That's your responsibility, isn't it? Because he has taken the accountability. he has taken, the Acharya has taken the responsibility of you being a pious person. So it is your duty to be in that line. That's the reason. I remember, I got it, of course, in 1988. Yes, my Bharanyasam. So I, people used to say, we are not going because we can't eat this, we can't do this, we can't do this. I used to wonder, my Acharya never said anything. So, Tirukudandai Andaman. So he did not say anything, but your responsibility becomes that you do not hurt the person who took the message to Krishna to say that you are pious. So you cannot make him a wrong person, no?
Right. No, they were extremely merciful.
Yes.
Was a blessing for us.
That's what we have been committing lot of mistakes, but fortunately Tayar and Perumal are so merciful. The moment you think, oh my God, what a foolishness it was, whatever I was doing was wrong, whether I'm talking about. So when I was telling somebody, we cannot talk ill of others. Oh my God, gossip session not allowed. I said, no, not allowed. So the gossip session is not allowed once you have gotten Prapati, because every living being is made of, he is there inside, he is there outside, he is watching you. He's a bird watching. So how can you ever, whatever somebody is doing, maybe some karanam, some reason, we cannot talk about anybody. That is the first thing in Rahasya Traya Saramam. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma. Hare
Thanks,
Krishna.
Prema.
Thank you.
The session end பண்ணிடுறேன்.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Ellarkum thank you.
Thank you, Premaji. Thank you, Kalina.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Narayana, Sriman Narayana.